Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. First call, Steelers have checked in on Joe Flacco. Aaron Rodgers may drag decision until the draft. Tuesday's first call has the latest on the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback quagmire. We've got fallout from Justin Fields, a potential future with Joe Flacco, plus a long timeline for an Aaron Rodgers decision. Alex Ovechkin takes another crack at climbing up the all-time goal-scoring ladder. And, on the hoops front, we can now tell you Duquesne's first opponent in the WNIT. They put together an offer for Justin Fields that I was told was very competitive with what the Jets offered him, which was close to 2 years, $40 million with $30 million guaranteed, Fowler said Monday on the Dan Patrick Show. Something went off where he chose the Jets. He must have felt the love more from the Jets than he did the Steelers, who essentially benched him last year for Russell Wilson. Was it feeling the love from the Jets? Or was it feeling less pressure to retain the starting job? I think it's choice B. I do believe they were all in on Fields, Fowler said. I don't know if they had Fields ahead of Rodgers, but they were willing to do Fields. Both sides, at one point, were open to it. It didn't work. I get the impression that all in for the Steelers is defined by intent but not finances. Players tend to view things the other way around. No end is near. NFL insider Ian Rappaport seems to think that Aaron Rodgers may be willing to draw out his speculation for another 6 weeks. At least. I don't get the sense Rodgers is in any hurry at all. Could it go all the way until the draft like it did 2 years ago? Maybe it could, Rappaport said on Monday on the NFL Network. Rappaport was referring to Rodgers' power play with the Packers and Jets, which resulted in his eventual trade to New York. Like then, Rappaport suggested Rodgers isn't feeling pressured to make a call. Since the Steelers, Vikings, and Giants all have the cap space, Rodgers can wait until draft week so he can get a better sense of who may be willing to take a first-round quarterback and use that information to his advantage in negotiations. If Rappaport is right, the Steelers shouldn't engage Rodgers in this game. Approach the draft with the grit-your-teeth-and-suck-it-up mentality that Mason Rudolph will be the starter in Week 1 and draft accordingly. Feelin' fine about Flacco? According to Albert Breer with SISMMQB, the New York Giants interviewed former Ravens and Browns quarterback Joe Flacco. And the Steelers may have an interest as well. Joe Flacco visited the Giants last week, which was a way, I think, for the team to check him out and for Flacco to get his name back in circulation, Breer wrote. Yes, he's 40. But as a one-year solution, at a way cheaper rate than Kirk, Cousins or Rodgers, I think the guy can still play. And the Browns, Steelers, and Vikings think enough of him still to have checked on him. Not only did the Steelers check in on him, Breer later added that there may be momentum building to acquire him. I think there are people there that would rather have Joe Flacco than Russell Wilson, Breer said Monday, at the 4:44 mark, with Connor or on Sports Illustrated's YouTube channel. If you need somebody to steady the ship for a year, I don't think he is a bad option. Perhaps. Do they want him more than Mason Rudolph, though? I'll say this, if Art Rooney too wants both quarterbacks to have similar play styles, as he intimated this offseason, he'd have it with those two. Neither of them could move behind that shaky offensive line. That could be scary. Flacco played in 8 games for the Indianapolis Colts last year, including beating the Steelers off the bench, with 6 starts. He totaled 1,761 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. In 11 starts for Pittsburgh, Wilson had 2,482 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Tim Benz, most Steelers fans embrace Mason Rudolph's return for the right reasons. It's tough to come up with a sports relationship that's analogous to the one between Mason Rudolph and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Billy Martin and the New York Yankees, perhaps, not quite. Maybe I should go the television route. How about Ross and Rachel on Friends? Sorry about hooking up with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and letting you go to Tennessee, Mason. But we were on a break. Nah. That feels too cute and cozy. The Rudolph-Steelers relationship is more dangerously codependent. It's more like Walter White and Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. No matter how many times Walter screwed over Jesse, threw him under the bus, mistreated him or sold him out, Jesse always found himself having to return to Walter, and Walter kept finding himself needing Jesse. Sound familiar? Now Rudolph is back again, as the Steelers have nowhere else to turn at quarterback, at least for the time being. Based on what I can tell, Pittsburgh seems just fine with that. After Rudolph was reacquired by the club Thursday, I posted a web poll asking for feedback on social media about the move. An overwhelming number of respondents said that they prefer the idea of Rudolph as the Steelers' potential starting quarterback in 2025 to that of Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, or any other theoretical option that remains available. Yes, this is the same Mason Rudolph that Steelers fans gleefully dismissed for Devlin Duck Hodges in 2019 and openly booed for merely taking the field during the preseason in 2022. It's amazing what those 3 wins Rudolph constructed at the end of 2023 did for his legacy here and how much he has been aided by the mediocrity of everyone else who has tried to hold down the position since Ben Roethlisberger retired following the 2021 campaign. Rudolph is returning after playing 8 games for the Tennessee Titans last year when he posted remarkably similar numbers to the ones he logged through 10 games under center in Pittsburgh in 2019. That was a season so mundane that fans wanted no part of him starting again after Roethlisberger retired. The franchise obliged by replacing Big Ben with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett in 2022, rendering Rudolph to third-string duty. He never took a snap. Turned over to free agency in 2023, Rudolph came back in May as the third stringer again and only got a chance to play when the stumbling Steelers seemed lost at 7-7 before he salvaged the year with 3 straight wins and got the organization into the postseason. However, the club was still so unimpressed that they allowed him to join the Titans after deciding they'd be better served acquiring Wilson and Fields to replace Pickett and Trubisky. Now, Rudolph has returned after going 1-4 in 5 starts for the Woeful Titans. Yet, based on the reception for him, you'd think that Terry Bradshaw circa 1978 had returned in black and gold. So, why the excitement? Do Steelers fans really think Rudolph is going to help the Steelers improve on last year's 10-7 record or replicate his short stint of 2023 if he becomes the default starter? Honestly, it doesn't seem that way. The fans that I've interacted with on the radio, via email or social media have a much more pragmatic stance. Rudolph is a genuine comeback story. He is much easier to root for than the narcissistic Rodgers or the pleasant but sometimes too polished and political Wilson. If the Steelers are finally going to regress below .500, as it appears they finally might do in 2025, at least do so with a QB the fanbase actually likes. Okay. I'll buy that. Rudolph is expeditious. He isn't going to cost much, $4 million per year over 2 seasons, and he can be kept as a backup or let go if better options come around before 2026 begins. Plus, if things go badly in 2025, big deal. Then, the Steelers will be in a better draft position in 2026 when the event is in Pittsburgh, and the team may have a better chance of landing a legit franchise quarterback of the future. Actually, I buy that too. But that's quite a commentary, isn't it? Steelers fans are coming together on a collective endorsement of a quarterback based on how easy it may be to get rid of him 365 days from now and the convenient timing of ending the fabled 21-year streak of no losing seasons. That says a lot about how substantially we've allowed the bar of expectations to be lowered around here. Frankly, though, the way the Steelers have mangled their quarterback situation, that may just be the right view to take. As Walter White once said, those consequences, they're coming. No more prolonging the inevitable. Pittsburgh Steelers offer to Aaron Rodgers revealed. The Pittsburgh Steelers' pursuit of Aaron Rodgers continues as he hopes for an offer from the Minnesota Vikings and has a more lucrative offer than the one the Steelers have offered him from the New York Giants. According to Steelers insider Jerry Dulac, the Steelers are offering Rodgers just a one-year deal, and while the exact price was not revealed, Dulac says the team intends to sign whichever veteran quarterback they land to just a one-year deal. Two things are certain: no matter which option they choose, they will not give any quarterback they bring in anything more than a one-year contract. That is what the Steelers are offering Rodgers. Sources said the delay in the Steelers' discussions with Rodgers was not about money, Dulac wrote. Mike Silver of The Athletic reports that Rodgers would like to be paid similarly to Sam Darnold, which would be right around $33 million per year. It is unknown if Rodgers wants 1 or 2 years, but that is probably more than the Pittsburgh Steelers would pay to Rodgers. The New York Giants are also waiting on what Rodgers' decision will ultimately be this offseason. Betting. Check out our guide to the best PA sportsbooks, where our team of sports betting experts has reviewed the experience, payout speed, parlay options, and quality of odds for multiple sportsbooks. Are you a fan? What do you think about Aaron Rodgers' situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.